when we first go live for the first few seconds, we get a blurry feed in the intro. So you go to 5. Go ahead. It's on.
Oh, hey, shit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
We're live already. Sorry, guys. How we doing today, man? Episode 5 in Breaking Bread with Charles, Ray, and myself, Jesus. Man, today we're talking about getting back up.
Getting back up.
I just don't know how you're gonna. But you said you got a little bit of.
I got a plan. So we went
just like we did Man Down.
Yeah, we did Man Down. We started Man Down, so we're going to go getting back up. So go ahead and tell us about that. Getting back. We've been having 40 so minutes of pre-conversation while we cleaned up the shop and got things ready. We've had an extremely busy week. So
I'm back. So it's just 1 week. I don't like the title of the last show, so I'm probably going to boycott. Since it's cancel culture, I'm going to cancel. I'm a boycott.
No, he's not.
No, I did go back and look at the show. I wish I could have watched it real time. I wanted to do that, but at the particular time, I was feeling bad.
And so we're figuring that out. So on a pause note, we're figuring that out. So you're saying that if somebody comes on and we want to, they're willing to video cam with us.
Oh yes.
While they're on there, they can just click on the link and log themselves into us to be able to see their faces. Whatever.
Yeah. Like it's already there. The people that are already watching us, just like Charles said, just click on it. So when you leave a message, we can know who you are.
Yeah. Cool. No, I'm no, but what I'm asking more specifically is if Ray wanted to get on with us last week, would any of our viewers be able to do the same thing and just click the what do they call it, video calling? Or
yeah.
Do they wanna
like a Zoom call?
Yeah, I can send them if they send a message here and they're like, hey, we want to get in there. Right, I gotta send them the link.
You send them the link,
and then they'll show up, and then we'll be like, whoop, and then they're gonna be over here.
So for anybody who's watching in real time, if you want to watch, because for this third week actually in a row on a very quiet audience, we've had a few people sitting with us listening to the show. So I do appreciate them and the support of just listening to me babble.
We got Trina.
So being a man down, being a man back up, right?
Yeah.
14 days. So, it's a long time between.
Yeah, and so in a lot of our podcasts, we have gone back to the the elephant in the room, which is COVID.
You can use the mic too. You good?
Pick me up there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can everybody hear Ray? Can we get a?
Oh, you're doing Instagram there?
Yeah.
But you got to do it like this because that it's not gonna come out.
Okay, look,
Come out sideways.
Yeah.
We're doing. Cousin Trina says, "Hey."
Yeah. What the heck? She's like, "Hey."
Back from COVID. So going back to why we ended up in a man down.
Talk about
right?
that too.
Man down situation. So tell us about the COVID scare.
So,
tell us what happened.
So here's what happened to me, real quick in a nutshell. My son started getting. He seemed like he was a little down. Energy wasn't 100%, but again, I didn't want to call him sick. But he said he had a scratchy throat, sore throat, and energy wasn't there. Runny nose. But again, I'm not calling it COVID. Everybody wants to call something COVID, but to me, I said, hey, it could just be a cold. Who knows? And he's a swimmer, so he's always in the water. And if he's always in the water, that's kind of susceptible to, getting a cold and stuff like that. No worries. So he got sick. So that Wednesday, and we always do our podcast on Wednesday, thinking about the show. Then at the last moment, as I'm at work, I get a headache. Not just a headache, but a migraine. And so for me, the migraine has been my warning system that tells me, hey, you've been around somebody that's been exposed to COVID. That tells me that I've been around somebody. So when I had that, I got sick. I came home, text you and said, hey, look, man, I'm down. Man down. I don't feel good. It could be COVID. The worst thing I thought I could do is come in here, sit down with y'all, and try to muscle through it. But the thing is, next thing you know, you might have some symptoms. Jesus might have some symptoms. And in your busy day, knock you out of what you've been doing. You just opened up the shop. So I'm thinking, man, if I go over there, I don't know if it is or not, but everything is the COVID symptoms now, right?
Err on the caution side.
So the last step too is that my wife, who never gets sick, she built like just built like an old school brick house, right? She don't get sick from germs and stuff like that. Scratchy throat, runny nose, headache. And I'm thinking to myself, this can't be. So I was suffering from from the allergies before that. So I'm thinking, there's no way that people catch somebody else's allergy, right? How do we have all the same symptoms? So I said, tell you what, I'm done. I'm chilling. So Wednesday I chilled. I think Thursday Thursday or Friday, we went and got the COVID test. Go get the COVID test. They shoved that cotton swab to the back of my, you know what I mean? To the back of my ideas. But I asked the lady too, I said, hey, look, have you noticed there's been an increase? You know, I'm gonna chat the lady up to see what's going on. She said, no. I said, well, you know, I thought maybe spring break would have increased our numbers. And she said, no, it really didn't do that. I'm like, okay. She said, really, a lot of people have been in here for allergies and sinuses. So the only thing I can break down, the test came back Saturday saying it was negative. The only thing I can break down is, man, maybe it's a sinus infection.
Or I'm gonna go conspiracy theorist for just a second.
Go ahead, because I'm with that too.
We all seemingly got sick prior to the word COVID being used so widely spread. I know we personally traveled in November before the 2021, so the end of 2020. So November 19. I go to Ohio. I go into Florida. I went to Ohio. We traveled around a couple places. And I think even my daughter had flown on the airplane. So, you know, a lot of exposure, if that's the way it went down from the very start to get around. What was odd is my daughter got sick. My granddaughter got sick. I got sick. My son got sick. My mom got sick. All of us who were there. And then when we all went back to our places, everywhere we were with got sick. The interesting thing is that the first person who got sick that seemingly we all got exposed to was my son-in-law. Who I think at the time was a school teacher. And we didn't know what it was, but he ended up having this just really bad flu that lasted. I mean, it was every bit of 2 weeks on him. And it was, you know, he laying in the bed like he was looking like he was going to die. But nobody went and said anything. It was all sinus allergies, infections, or strep throat or something like that. Like it wasn't something labeled as being like COVID. But all of us went through something. So what if, for just a minute, we all did experience something that happened to be airborne, right? And now your body just reacts differently, whether or not it was affected by the first time you got sick or not. Because if it's a mutating, you know, I know last week we went on a thing and I said something about the mask. Like it's either the vaccine and the mask, or it's no vaccine and the mask. And that's my personal opinion. And that's me and me alone. But Jesus, this week, you ended up getting the vaccine. So how that? So you didn't, they were giving the vaccine, but you didn't take one.
So
did you take a vaccine?
No.
Okay.
So here's what I do. My wife thinks this, and to me, it's just a question mark right now. So at the job on Tuesday, mind you, I got sick Wednesday. On the job on Tuesday, they were offering the vaccine. So they offer the vaccine, and there are people getting the vaccine.
We're gonna turn the camera off. They know you're here, right?
But I don't think that. So my wife seems to think, well, putting something, normally when you put a vaccine in, you're introducing a small part of whatever it is into the person, right? So with the flu, you're introducing the flu virus into the person. So she's thinking like, look, let's say, for example, let's use Jesus, for example. Jesus gets the vaccine. You're sitting next to Jesus. He's actually got a small piece.
Of it. And we don't know exactly how it's affecting it.
Right. So we're hanging out.
Sit a little closer, bro. I'm willing to test this theory.
So that's what she thinks. So I don't know if that's true or not. I can't say, but vaccines were on Tuesday. I started feeling bad Wednesday. You know, my early warning system saying I was done. But here's what I do, and I told y'all this too. If you feel like you've got those symptoms that are COVID, we jump all over it. So I went to La Clinica, and guess what? Z-Pack, dexamethasone shot, and also B12 shot. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm already self-medicating, because what they don't do in the conventional hospitals is somebody has COVID-like symptoms, they send you home and tell you to come back when you feel worse. But that is time that the virus is sitting in there and growing.
That's true.
So
for me, jump on it.
That's a very difficult thing, because what you just said, man, I know I go by like being a doctor or stuff with the cars, right?
I just play a doctor on the podcast.
But if I see that your stuff comes in and there looks like there's some issues, then I'm treating it. The fact that they turn people away and say, you know what, your transmission don't look so bad. Go ahead and keep eating on it. We'll see what happens. It's like they're putting them back out there just to see if they can get broken down and then charge them a tow back to the shop instead of just addressing the issue from the start. Or are they just looking for more data? Like I said, I'm continually going to take that conspiracy theorist. I got a question. I say to question everything, then question why. Why are you questioning everything? That's not what I'm
I think we should question things.
Right. And I think for the most part, you should use good judgment on what you're doing.
But we use good judgment based on the information that we're given, and everybody processes information differently. We take this information, we take it all together, and I look at it, and like, COVID. Or you're gonna look at it and say no. But everybody does that. We should take the information. For me, personally speaking, we don't have enough information when we talk about the vaccine to be able to take the vaccine currently right now.
Right.
So I'm not an anti-vaxxer. What I'm saying is there's not enough information for me right now to take the vaccine.
Okay, so here's my thing. If somebody can't, because I continually talk about being inside my community. If anybody's watching, you got time, I don't. What I'd like to see is the distance between Cincinnati, Ohio, and Lexington, Kentucky, and then, a comparison between Houston, from like where Houston ends and begins. Because for me, my community is actually this 4 million, 9 million, like however many people we have living here.
Right.
There's a lot of people here. I went to the store before the show to grab a pack of cigarettes and some cervezas for the rest of us. And when I did, what I noticed is all the guys coming in who just did drywall, nobody had a mask on.
Mm.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, I wouldn't either. That drywall mud that you got all over you, bro, it's blocking anything from getting through, right? Like just from the start. But at the same time, it seems to be that you, when you go to other stores where it's just normal people every day who are not out being exposed, these guys are working. They're going around other people who are traveling around town. I'm telling you, what's weird about the city of Houston is you might have a job on the west side with Katie today. Man, there's no reason why you wouldn't be in Seabrook tomorrow,
right.
and possibly
right.
Far north is Humble or somewhere the next day for contractors. So those guys are getting out and getting around. And the one thing I said makes me feel comfortable is because I watch my community, the stores I go to, the places I visit, people come see me, the traffic that we're around, and the small things, right? Like those are the things I'm constantly paying attention to get my news source from, because just like you, I trust the things that are unknown to me versus what people are just telling me. Because I bodybuilding, I would take stuff. We took creatine monohydrate. We took L-carnitine. I think that was the one that made you sleep. Or maybe that's the basis of nitrous oxide, I think. But I'm saying I went and I took all those chemicals as all that stuff was going on, and I checked what worked and didn't work based on my body, because I really never believed. I never believed Muscle Fitness magazine or Muscle Flex, because you see the guy and he's balled out and he's like, 28 days after taking Celtec, look at me, I'm ripping, and you know what I'm talking about, right? It's propaganda media, right? Even on a lower form, but it still affects people. So rather than buy into it, did I like the stuff? Yeah, I gained some weight, mostly water. I felt a little bloated. I couldn't stand anything citrus for a little while. I wouldn't drink any kind of orange juice or nothing. Anyway, go back to what you're talking about. But you're checking the community, you're checking around you, and you immediately went to the people around you, your son, your wife, where you'd been, and everything else, and then you stopped and checked. And after you stopped and checked, you realized whether or not you were going to stay where you are, or enough time had passed for you to get back up and continue to move in your life. Which we're thankful that you didn't get sick. I know some people have gotten sick. Very, very, very thankful. Right. And at the same time, I'm very thankful that nothing has happened to you since you got it, because the blood clots. There's all kinds of COVID. We could eat up the entire 2 hours. We know we could just on the COVID subject. But Johnson & Johnson's pulling the vaccine. So again, it goes back to last week. Is your vaccine and mask good enough, or are you saying that the percentage of death of 6 people, which God rest their souls, I hope everything's all right with them, but 7 million vaccinations, 6 people died? At what point do we say that the numbers are so far one way or another that we're not willing to say, you know what, I'm not going to risk it, which is what I'm still choosing. But I'm watching the information I'm being given. I'm not going to risk.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem where we're at.
Thank you for being the guinea pig.
Here's the problem.
That's what my friend said.
Right now, we've been given so many different pieces of information, and information contradicting other information, that we really, I'll be honest with you, I don't believe that they stopped the whole vaccine rollout just because 6 people died.
No.
Okay, so hold on. Trina said, now I like this. Trina's giving some feedback. So Trina said, when I tested positive, they gave me meds and vitamins. It wasn't until I got admitted that they gave me the real meds.
What are the real meds?
So here's what. Okay, so. And Trina, I wish I could have a bigger conversation with you on this, because I'm highly interested. Because I said I'm a data person, right? And I'm going to keep going with what I feel until somebody can prove it wrong, because that's just how I'm trying to lead my life. I have thought for a while, when people get the test, right? If it's airborne and the test swab itself is looking for something that was reacted. Now, let's just say your boogers and whatnot, the mucus doesn't filter out a certain amount, right? Can we be fair about that? It's like an oil filter, air filter. It's going to get out so much. if the virus is so tiny small, it makes it through the mask and everything else, right? And it's buried in the farthest back spot that they got to go to it. I still kind of feel like that's a reactor that happens. And once you're in and they're having the right kind of data, I can't say, me personally, what they put in medicine bags, what they don't put in medicine bags. But if I was the scientist and I'm looking for data off of people, and I know that I've had this and it's a reactor, now I have it, I'm able to test medications against people like her every day, and nobody's watching.
Yeah,
and they're still collecting data whether or not the vaccines, the small doses or whatever else that they may or may not have given her is going to be effective to what happened to her. That's still my big question. And the overall, that's why I'm still.
No, so I do believe that masks and face coverings do work. It limits, because let's be honest, the real reason why we're passing it is because we're spitting on each other. Oh, it's spit.
Fucking Looney Tunes.
It's real. The real thing is that when we talk to each other, and then I've noticed it more because hey, everything is COVID now.
Well, no, hold on. So
when you talk,
we're
spitting on
COVID,
people.
But
You're spitting on people, and that is how we are. Why do they tell you to stay 6 feet away? Because they assume that your spit will not travel 6 feet. It's spit, you know that.
At the same time,
so when you put on a face covering, I'm gonna put on a face covering right now. I limit, or I'm spitting into.
And you're keeping your breathing it. You're resuscitating.
Yeah, but I can't get myself sick. I already got whatever I got.
If that virus
what this is trying to do is it's trying to limit giving you this. So what I also believe is there's an amount of viral load that you actually have to have. So in order, I think, for it to show up inside of my body, then the viral count has to be, who knows? You got to have it like, let's say, a shit ton of COVID in you for it to finally show up on a swab. So my theory is one of two things. Either that test I took with the rapid is trash, or I didn't have enough viral load at the time for it to show up on the test. Why didn't I have it? Because I started hitting the Z-Pack. I started hitting all my vitamins. I took the B12 shot, and all of that reduced, if I had it, it reduced the COVID that I had.
But what I'm saying is there's not a dollar,
all bro science.
There's not a dollar bill. There's not a dollar bill in circulation right now that hasn't been in the crack of some stripper's butt at some point in time, or a $20 bill that don't have cocaine all over it and somebody else's mucus. I'm saying for facts, we can say that this is something that's proven in other ways, and maybe not every dollar bill per se.
Somebody says change the subject.
No, okay, we'll get but again, if that's the case, there's so many other things moving around that we've been exposed to constantly. And whatever these situations that they come from, I'm still leery of the science community telling me that COVID is just going to kill everybody, unless, like anything else, they just know something we don't. So
the last time before Man Down, and this is the last piece I'll say before we move on. Mm-hmm. The last thing I asked, and I asked you guys this too, I said, "Are you scared of COVID?"
No.
You said no. You said no, and I said no. So after me going through that ordeal, or last week, I'm still not scared of COVID.
Well, and here's the even better part. You having the scare, not having the scare. I've been around, including my grandmother, while she was sick,
right,
and did have symptoms, and I hugged her like it was her last day on earth,
right?
Kissed her on her forehead, like I didn't really care. Now I have you who've been vaccinated and carrying just a little bit of it around you. You who don't know, maybe the thing is trash. And I'm still sitting here in the middle saying, I'm not wearing a mask, and you ain't shooting me with nothing. All right, so let's move on. Let's get to a subject. We actually had somebody this week. The gentleman's name,
Jason
Hart. Jason Hart, I believe. Yeah, I can't scroll back, and I'm done fobbling with my phone until I get an actual laptop to watch this on. So, hey, man, it's building the show. We said that from the beginning. We're gonna build it as we go. This is, if you don't believe why we're talking about it, you're gonna have to go back to the beginning and start. Don't miss anything from the trip from A to B at this point. Anyhow, so we got some feedback today, and something that came as a very good subject, because a lot of don't read a book by its cover could be played in this. Like I said, but I can tie this thing a bunch of different ways. Anyhow, toxic masculinity versus alpha male. And so I gave the description the best that I could. Is that I think the toxic masculinity is,
explain that part.
Well,
toxic.
I'm saying cancel
I need
culture.
To know,
we're on cancel
I need
culture.
to know what toxic masculinity
so the
is.
idea that men are just not supposed to be men. Let me get this mic right. There are some things that men do overall, right? And because by nature, when you're after a girl that you see that you like, your behavior changes. your pheromones go off. A lot of things about your body start to change, right?
Okay.
It's one thing to live inside those changes, and people have leadership roles. All those kind of people who lead that. You end up around. We've been in gyms, we've been in places, and you find that one guy. There's one guy. There's two guys, right? There's two males in that gym. You got an alpha and a beta, and these boys can be 9 times out of 10 they're going to be really big gentlemen, right? Hold on, I'm about to rock your socks.
He's looking at. He's like, I'm right here.
There's two ways that this is going to go. You're going to get a guy who goes in, and maybe they both yell and scream when they lift weights. They do a lot of the same things the same. What you're going to find is they have two totally different personalities. One person is going to be completely humble like yourself. Like you don't have to go in and announce and push around. You find the other guy who has worked so hard and he's not big enough in his head, right? And big enough mentally. Now I'm saying take that out of that to being in the family, being in a relationship, anywhere else. You take the ideology of being in the gym. You get those kind of two males. Then you find this other dad who, he seems that they both have it going the right way. Everything's right. But one of them's got to constantly just be loud and to be pushy to tell you he's in charge. When the guy's in charge, you don't have to say anything because the minute he opens his voice like a lion, he's speaking. The second thing that happens, because we're beasts by nature, I believe, is that if he has to get up and talk, that lion don't talk for long. The toxic males, those are the guys that'll get up, and once they think they've proven their point, will continue to take their point out and just kind of beat everything in their path, right? So I think a lot of times you get labeled as being the narcissistic male, and I say we are here to help men and women alike to understand what men go through. I'm not a woman. I trust me. Thank God I'm not a woman. But that question was asked, and that's what I think. I think you see a lot of the alpha male. He leads. He encourages other people. He picks other people up. He doesn't go around pushing people down. Toxic masculinity, it goes around pushing a lot of people down in ways it's not healthy. They don't do anything to build other people up. They want to be an alpha so bad, but they spend all their time being a beta. And that, I say, that's the best way I can kind of describe that. It's not that it makes either of the guys so bad. It's just, man, one of them's a blessing to be around, and the other one is just like, oh, Jesus, could you please? And we know these guys. You know it because you've had guys that are sub 100 pounds and you try to press up on you at the gym, and you're like, I know you personally. You're like, bro, what are you doing? I'm not in competition. I'm in competition with the best man I know, this dude right here. And that's the kind of guy you are.
So I just have a problem with the phrase toxic masculinity.
I'm saying it's being used very broadly. It's a very broad used in culture, in TV, and everywhere else. So please explain, why do you have a problem?
So when was the last time you walked around saying that dude is toxic, has toxic masculinity? We don't even talk about
Well, no, we don't use the word.
Those aren't our words.
Explain to people who are, because at
those
the
aren't
same
our
time,
we
the word
don't.
alpha male is being confused.
I've said things about alpha males and stuff like that, but I've never called another dude he's toxic masculinity. Either that's somebody who has maybe some PhDs and we just don't talk like that on that level, or, and watch this, and I don't mind. You guys can flame it down in the comments or whatever. That's women speak.
That's true.
So there are a lot of words.
There
are a lot of words in the English language which I do not agree with. So I'm gonna bring it back, and I'm always bring it back to the gym, right?
Right.
So the word that I hate the most is tone. So you talk, and I never heard a dude talk about, I just want to be toned. And if he says that, get out of my face. But most women, when you ask them what they want to do in the gym, they want to be toned. I don't know what tone is. Tone is musically, there's a tone.
Yeah,
but
sure.
When women come up and they tell me that they want to be toned, I'm like,
tone
get
is what
out
you
of
look
my
like
face.
12
Because
years out.
tone does not exist. Tone to me doesn't exist.
And I think, and I say
So
that,
to me, equating that with the toxic masculinity, first off, you're saying the word toxic, that already sounds negative. And then the next word is masculine. So that sounds like someone who already doesn't like men.
or doesn't like himself.
Could
And
be.
I'm going to be fair. A lot of that is, we worked out with these guys. We both know them, bro. I'm not naming names.
No.
We've been around people. Right?
Yeah, I just the word structure I have a problem with.
Yeah, the wording sucks, but with the culture that we're living in, we're having a lot of things come out. A lot of things are being said. It's real easy just to point fingers and be offended instead of, again, man, you got to be so offended all the time, because that's what happens.
So,
somebody goes try to.
Somebody made the word up. Here's the real reality. There are alpha males and there are betas, just like what you said. But the issue goes to this. There are betas who try to act like alphas. Maybe that's the toxic. That's just a description of a beta. That's just another description of a beta for me.
Well, good Lord, somebody will fry me for this in the comments.
See, that's what I'm saying.
If I have to, okay, so prime example.
Because you already know it's going to make us talk.
Okay, so I'm saying I'm not going to say he's getting tone, right? I'm not going to use the word tone, but in that toxic men exist.
Yeah.
Toxic men exist.
Says what word will you use?
What do you mean, Trina? Give me what word would I use? I would just use the word toxic. Toxic men exist. If we're not using the word toxic masculinity,
sure, because they're toxic people.
Sure,
they're toxic
but
people.
What I think that gets so confused with is that the behaviors that come out of that, because they're trying to be masculine, if I can even use that phrase, to not feel. Oh God. Tell me you didn't run into somebody. Listen, I spent my days being healthier than what I am, and anytime I ran into somebody who came in and told me they wanted to work out to get women, I'm like, dude, this isn't.
But
about
those dudes
women.
are in the gym too. They're in there. They're in there. You see
but
them.
then they get to a point where they're not really getting what they thought they was after, and the only person they're into is themselves.
Yeah.
And that becomes a toxicity to themselves, because they just. At that point, it's like, man, you almost become like somebody I don't want. I like being around other strong men. Men. You know why? Because it's the leadership. I don't like being around the other guys who are on the opposite way, especially when somebody like, well, did I squat deep enough? Bro, you already know me. Did you sit down? Because if you didn't sit down, that is not a squat. Last time I checked that baby squats, a baby squat is there's a verbiage for it I'm not going to say, because I promise I'll keep it clean. But into the grass with the hindsides of your body is the only way to do a squat. And when I see a guy load a bar up, 405 and move about this far, I'm like, man, if you ever come ask me to spot you again, I'm letting you sit down that way.
He said, instead of tone, which word will you use? He said.
So great question. Whatever you do not walk in and talk about tone.
No.
So
as a man,
you could say, no. I would like, no, but even as a woman,
hard butt.
Don't talk about it, because it doesn't exist. She's asking that because she understands.
No, I think the real question is, what do you think it would take for me to get to a point where I will feel attractive for myself?
No.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the heart of the question. Mentally, I think that's the heart of the question.
So no.
Yeah.
So tone is something that does not exist. Tone is something that our beauty industry has tried to sell to women and has put them on a path of destruction, something that they will never be able to achieve. What it's trying to do is, when a woman comes up to you and says, I want to be toned, she's talking about she wants to gain a little bit of muscle and lose fat at the same time. And I'm telling you that is a pipe dream.
My better explanation.
It's a pipe dream.
Take all that beautiful skin that's on your body right now, because God loves you the way you are, and just work a little harder to firm it up.
No, but if you ask what are your goals, she's gonna. I've had people come up to me. I just want to be toned, and I'm like, get away from me, because it doesn't exist.
I never said, do I want to be toned, right?
No. Again, we don't talk like that. We don't talk like that. Tone has been a word that's been drilled into via commercials, via ad prints, and all this stuff.
1980s James Fonda.
Yeah, that's why they were saying words like that. But these key words that they use are driving women to do things that just don't exist. And then when they don't get the results, they're not toned because it doesn't exist. Then they get discouraged and they leave the gym. So the main thing is, when you come in, you need to talk about, instead of being toned, I'd like to get in shape. Well, what does get in shape mean? If you want to talk about maybe moving down a couple of dress sizes and things like that, that gives a person a description. Okay, you want to lose weight. But the main thing is, you can't do two things at one time, because you're pulling against each other. So I can't get you to lose weight and build muscle at the same time, because you're not going to see the changes, and then you're going to get discouraged.
Well, you're not going to pay attention to your body mass index. You're looking at a scale.
Yeah, but if a woman's looking at the scale and then that scale is not going in the right direction because we're trying to do two things at one time, or the scale goes up. Just because the scale goes up doesn't mean you're having a bad day.
True.
It doesn't. But if you're working on tone,
Yeah, you're having a bad day. Fatty.
It just totally destroys you. So that's what I'm saying. There's certain words in English language that should not exist. And for women, I know this is a show that's more geared towards men, but we also talk about things that I think relate directly to women. Tone, don't ever try to be tone as a target goal for yourself.
No.
Don't do that. No.
Welcome back, Ray.
Don't do that.
See, they didn't want to listen to me for 2 hours. See how far down I was?
So alpha male to me, and I'll equate this in the world of the animal kingdom. You have 2 dogs. You've been around dogs.
Right.
So I equate alpha or alpha type characteristics or alpha male in the dog world, let's say. And it's showing there's a pecking order a lot of times. And in the pecking order, the alpha is the top. And sometimes in the animal world, it's not just the male. It could be, a female as well. But the alpha's on top. And the alpha doesn't have to do small dog things to prove he's alpha.
There you go.
So I look at a lot.
You don't get loud.
I look at a lot of things of what animals do and equate it to what's going on in our human world now. But what's happened is we've become delicate with words.
Oh, yeah.
We've become
offended.
There we go. That's the word right
I'm
there.
saying it. I'm offended.
We've become very...
I'm offended that you don't like the fact that I used the language I used. You
No,
hurt my feelings because I was trying to...
Because you're wearing short shorts.
Oh, yeah, because I'm wearing my short shorts.
So I think a lot of times if a person asks you a certain question, it's almost loaded because it's really... I'm not gonna rag on dudes. And I think when we say toxic masculinity, you're starting off already on the conversation. You're really ragging on dudes. Yeah. So you really can't help in that because that's a very negative connotation.
Okay, so at the same time, I think here's the issue. So I'm gonna relate it back to the people I think that discussion would matter most to. Men who are currently in the dating world, right? They're going against a different kind of female than me and you've ever experienced. I'm just.
What does that mean?
Whoa. I said, don't fry me already.
No,
if you don't fry me, you better get up in these comments.
What's the difference? Explain the different types of female today.
I think in general, you see a large part of people in society who are dating, who are standing. Again, I'm hoping to see more people who are not leaning so far left or right that we're both able to move forward together, right? But I think there are men out there who are probably going to listen to this and who are trying to find their, like every single guy's always looking for it's in you, right? You want to help her. You not so much you want to help her, but you're looking for a woman, bro. Nothing's better. You ain't trying to go home and sleep in bed at night. Probably makes you your best male friend, are you?
No.
But if you got your best girl right there, that's the place you want to be at. And there's a solitude feeling because you went through that where you had to work, you traveled, you're back and forth without your wife. And when that girl you're looking for, ultimately the girl you should marry should be the kind of girl who you're gonna miss her when she's not there. Like that's a feeling that they're looking for. So for these people trying to go out and find their way through these couple and dating situations, there's a lot of language that's being flipped around, I think, over the social media altogether, right? And again, you said it yourself weeks back that you felt like men like myself were under attack, because I'm a white man.
I continue to agree with that.
And I say that the black male is continually under attack, and what we're not paying attention to is what the Hispanic community is going through right now. 400 years from now will become a flip-flop situation of where we stand. White people don't breed fast enough where we're a dying breed. I'm cool with that. I'm out. I feel like there's so many people who don't. I walk into places and feel like I get looked at differently. I've never felt this way in my life. And at the same time, I make sure to make eye contact, smile, and try to be the one person who ever comes and says, "Hey, man, don't look at me for what's inside, not for what's on the outside."
So in the reality, a lot of things are what's going on in our, I don't say culture, in our world here in America today.
Our world, World Wide Web, maybe the entire world.
Right.
Caucasians are recognizing, or should be recognizing, that they will not be the majority
in the
U.S.
No, because white
in 2025 or whenever it's coming up. I don't know what the date is.
White Americans got sold down the dream of have less kids, don't have as much, you can buy more. Don't have more children, right? And then look at, and I'm saying very statistically, and it's not for any other reason. I'm glad I got the experience this time in life that I did. I'm cool with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm very happy with where I'm at. If I get to pick and choose a time, I got good friends, good business, good family, like ups and downs, whatever. But at the same time, I've had this conversation with other friends, and I've said, hey man, if that's the way you feel, like the birth rate is not high enough for quote unquote whites, because to me personally, bro, I would give anything to be a little more colored than I am, because it's hard, bro. Look at these things. I'm like trying to keep my legs underneath the table so the lights don't reflect off the ground.
He's wearing short shorts.
But yeah, being on that, on that spot, there's just not going to be enough. There's not enough people that are going to be. There's not enough white families breeding, and it's just the basis of they're being outbred. They're going to be the minority.
So watch this. Overall,
but
black and brown people.
Pause. We're still paying attention to skin color. I like to get past that.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about how far the human race is going to go together instead of where we're going to go independently as colors. That's the ultimate hardcore goal, I think, is to step outside.
Your government,
my government. Oh,
Your government.
Your government.
Who's running this place?
Your government.
My government. This place is trash.
Making decisions.
My government was July 4th, 1776.
Is making decisions based off of color. Based off of color.
But they've been doing it for years, and it sucks.
They tried to build a wall between Mexico and the United States.
I told you, they don't need a wall. They need just a bunch of.
Trying to build a wall.
Listen, they need a bunch of ex-military guys who got nothing better to do, and say, "Hey, man, tell you what, go down there, stand in line. We screwed your heads up anyway by making you go stand in the sand. Please, can you go stand in the sand over there? We compensate them.
You know that there are already people in the sand doing that over there.
God, this is horrible.
Let's move on.
Right, we're gonna get into because you're right.
And maybe I don't speak on behalf of all white.
No, and I don't want you to, because
I'm saying, but for me personally, this crap sucks. We have these conversations. I don't like what's going on at the border. I don't like the fact that we're allowing that other countries. Screw the fact that the government is screwing the people up at the border. The fact that other people's lives are so in such positions that they feel the only choice they have is to take their child, like baby Moses, send it up the river, and just hope that there's a better life up the other way. What about their governments? Because this is the only government people are trying to run to, even if it means dying trying to get here.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll take what we have. I just wish we could fix some of it. And I say, my way of fixing it is there's no more right, there's no more left. We're all going this way. And we have to, God dang it, we have to get to the table and we have to talk.
If that's the case where we don't talk about colors anymore, then why do we care about borders?
Okay, so borders only establish governments. And that's very saying, but now you're leaning very.
No, but I'm talking human. No, and you're right. But it's just to go off of what you were saying is let's move forward as a human race.
Yes.
Then there's no borders.
I would much rather just move forward as Mexicans. I'd much rather move forward as just being American. Because I say that, I probably said in subconsciously. When people ask me what it's like in Texas, I'm like, I don't know, the rich side of Mexico. I love it. But the only thing I don't get is the ocean water, right? And I'm afraid to travel because I don't want to be a turista. I don't know how. Look, I've hurt my kidneys over the years. I don't want them taking the good one.
Yeah.
So at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, it says, "Bring me. You're tired. You're poor.
Yes.
You're hungry."
Yes.
When did that stop?
It stopped when we started sending money to other countries to take care of their stuff instead of taking care of the ones that they sent us to start with.
Why did that stop? I don't get it.
I wish I had an answer, but it give me if I had the power to change it, I would change it.
For some reason, a long time ago, it was okay for a lot of people to come across.
And I still think it is today.
And then they all came through New York.
Through New York,
yeah. And that was okay. But today,
they can't come through New York. Now they come through El Paso. We just need to move the Statue of Liberty over there.
I'm just saying, what's the difference?
Hey, what was the point of bringing the
Statue of Liberty?
No, Statue of Liberty was French gave it to us.
But there was actually a point for it.
Well, I watched something the other day. My TikTok. I would love to upload my TikTok to you guys so you can see what it sends me. It was talking about something. It's a pagan sun god and this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, cool, we get it. Somewhere along the lines, we end up with the statue, right? We end up with the statue, and it has these words on it. People come from all kinds of different countries, right? And so I'll accept all that. My family in itself, I wish my aunt was watching this. She probably gets full background on where we're at.
Right.
My grandfather was a Fritz. His brother was a Frederick. Okay, they immigrated. Like our family moved, they came. At the same time, my biggest issue of what's going on is the fact that we're having such an influx of just to stay with just the Hispanic community itself. We have such an influx of workers that we're bringing in. Now let's just talk about it in one country, right? Maybe America and Mexico really do need to find some sort of agreement between the two of them At the same time, I don't think Mexico really cares about its people. So it's very difficult. But if Mexico doesn't care about their people, and I say that openly, then how do we fix that in America? Well, by one is we stop allowing so many people to run to Home Depot to hire workers, and we start getting these people their numbers and registration as they come across. Listen, they're coming across the border. Fine, come with your kids. If you're a person who's going to immigrate and you've thought it's so highly of my country that you're willing to send your kid, even if it meant death and hurt or pain, but that was more than enough for you to convict you that you don't like where your child's at, that you want to send them, then come find me. Come find me. We need to get these people Social Security numbers. We need to get these people in the system, and we need to encourage those people to take part in our society because they're willing to risk their children's lives to get here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But we're not doing that. What are we doing? We're stopping.
No, we were.
No.
We
Listen,
were.
the only thing that's happening in border is you get two parties.
We have sitting at the
fighting
table
for
with us
control.
right now, Jesus, who is in the DACA program.
And I'm saying, how long?
And that's
How
built,
long's it been?
but that's built
Yeah.
to take someone that you just described and do what you just described.
Well, what I'm saying is that for the past however many years that the DACA stuff has been around, there's been 535 and plus one in charge of this country. All those people who've been running that job, they need fired right now. I'd get rid of every last one of them because they're the people who have failed the greater majority. Listen, I would feel, right or wrong, would you feel if I put you in a MAGA hat and sent you into a predominantly white neighborhood, would you feel safe? You by yourself. Take the same
In a
white male
MAGA
like
hat,
myself.
no. If you put me in
I
a
don't-
white neighborhood, if you in
There's
my
social
skin,
experience.
if you put me in a MAGA hat in a white neighborhood, I would not feel safe. If you put me in my skin currently right now in a MAGA hat and put me in a black neighborhood,
Ooh.
I would not feel safe.
I wouldn't feel safe at all.
So what I'm telling you is there's no
nobody likes a MAGA hat.
there
We
is
established that.
no, it's not that I don't like it. I don't care about the hat. You
Yeah.
know, to me that was a good
Other-
gimmick. But I can't wear that hat in no way, shape, or fashion. In any
No,
neighborhood.
and I would never expect you to.
No, I'm just saying
was
that I couldn't do
It
it.
was strictly theoretical. Let me scoot next to Jesus. I'm gonna get out striking.
No, I'm just saying I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it
No,
and walk down the street and have a pleasant day.
no,
I couldn't do
but
it.
there's
No.
social experiments where these things have happened, and the social experiments that they have carried out show that it's kind of the other way. I would like to see more white Americans who say they're more accepting actually be more accepting, and it goes further than that. I would rather see more people in the Christian body church be a little more loving of the people around them. Like we're failing as a quote unquote Christian country all around. When we really get to the heart of it. Like I said, this is going to be something that this show is going to continue to expand. We're going to go with the current things that are going on. You're here, soul, mind, body, spirit. Like we're really trying to tie those things together. And again, the saddest thing is that if you read the scripture the way it says, like he created man and woman, never talks about creating color.
No.
He didn't say he made a white guy and a black girl
That's true.
or a brown girl, you know what I'm saying, and a yellow guy. Like there's no color mentioned. Simply the fact that they were just male and female. We know we're male and female. We know the government is failing. They're failing us, and they're failing those who are trying to come to our borders, right? I think there's a better way for us to manage the way that things are happening. It's impossible to overcome the poverty of the world by accepting 1 or 2 million people a year legally. We're never gonna balance that. But what we should be spending time going to outreach to countries who are our allies and helping them develop the same maybe school systems or stuff like that we have. I mean, we're making a big mistake on both hands. And the biggest thing of that is I think it's driven by people who dictate it and I don't, what do they call those people who contribute to Congress or whatever?
The lobbyists and all
The
that.
lobbyists,
Yeah.
yeah.
Take the lobbyists. There should be a lobbyist one allowed up there.
But
No.
money drives everything. Money is the root.
So
Money
the
is
color
root.
so the color green is the ultimate power.
Absolutely, and it's the worst color. I mean, that's the color that we haven't talked about today, but that is the worst.
It just sucks.
So-
man.
so
I'm in a
we
green
sit
shop
here-
and he's talking about the color green.
Hey,
the worst
look,
color.
no,
Gosh, man, you
And I mean money. I'm using the example of money when I say green.
No, yeah.
I love the color
Green.
green, but no money.
I was going to say your shirt looks green.
One
It's an
of
ugly color, right?
so one of the big things is the way that governments have been designed and the way that our structure has been designed. Here in the U.S., we have what's called a middle class. Middle class means, we could probably all be considered middle class. Means you can earn a daily wage and be able to support yourself and buy things that you really don't need. In other countries, in third world countries, there is no middle class. There's poor and there is rich.
That's where we're going here in the U.S.
And so, well,
Yeah,
watch this.
go
No,
ahead.
the great thing about the U.S. is that we have a middle class. I mean, you can actually go out there. One thing that they would wage rate that would have destroyed a lot of stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it would also have really affected what's going on in the middle class. But the big thing is when you have countries that don't have a middle class, you have poor and you have rich. There's nowhere for all of these people really to survive, and that's what creates the drive for them to come here, because we have a middle. If they know that they can get here, work hard, and then, in all honesty, maybe not their generation, but their kids for sure, they're going to be middle class. So they will be middle class if they work hard. I really believe that.
So would it be safe to say that having a middle class gives you a rung on the ladder to climb up or down on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't.
So
to
I mean,
me, this is what I
beneficial.
feel when I go to a third world country. I do not see your third world is probably this. The middle class is probably this small. You have a whole bunch of poor people, and then you have a 1% that's up there.
So I think speaking of traveling in places, and I say again, if you're a viewer, correct me if I'm wrong. There are people in Dubai who actually, because Dubai's wealthy, right? Extremely wealthy. I think I caught some sort of underground, special report, and they were talking about the people in Dubai who actually work in Dubai and what kind of conditions those workers live in, because they're not the wealthy class and they're also not the visiting wealthy class. Because our middle class visiting anywhere else is probably pretty high on the hot pay scale, considering what country you go to.
If you're in the U.S. and you're working, for example, in another country, and your job sent you there, that's easy $100K. You're already making $100K.
And I'm saying, but I've never been out. This is the saddest part of this. Is I'm somebody I've never been out of the country. I've traveled the states. I haven't completely made it to the West Coast. It's definitely on my bucket list of things. I'm real big on. I would love to go see Puerto Rico. I'd love to be able to go see Cuba, because I've seen so many beautiful pictures from it.
Cool.
Yeah, I would. And anything like just taking. But I've never been to any of those places. The problem I have is that we're getting so close with. I hate to even say the vaccine thing, but having to go back and say, am I going to miss out on visiting some of those places that are so beautiful? At the same time, I've never got to go experience those people's culture. And the only thing I get as a white male American is this beautiful side of Mexico that I live in. And that's just the way I feel, bro. I had a buddy this week, and you're laughing hard. But I had a friend this week, and I said, hey, man, I got a project that come in the shop. And he's like, yeah. How would you feel about 2 weeks, bro? I'll fly you in, pay you for 2 weeks, put you up. You're the best worker I know. I got something that's in, and I can't think of anybody else. He goes, bro, and I love this. I hope he's watching. He's like, you telling me Hispanic women, all the tacos I can eat, and barbecue for days. He's like, when do I leave? So maybe the rest of the U.S. needs to be a little more just like Texas. And maybe the rest of the world.
Should we talk about that too?
No way.
Should we talk about Texas?
Dude, if the rest of the world, listen,
Texas is so hot right now. I saw several reports about Californians coming here.
Yeah, I know, dude. And they're gonna make it the same as it was in Cali.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that from now to maybe 50 years from now, right? Let's talk about what happens. You get areas where the taxes go real high in the cities, right? What happens? You get people who can live there or they can't. Poverty levels go out of control, right? So then what happens? All the people who have money, they move out. What happens to property value? Goes down. So then what happens after that? After a few years of having poverty in there, they decide to put some laws in, take the people who are living in poverty. We're no longer talking about black, white, Hispanic, whatever. Take the poverty people and move them out of there. What happens to property values? Property value goes back up.
It goes back up.
And who takes over? People with green. So I'm going to say we should all plan ourselves for the next 25 to 40 years, retire in California.
But I thought you would say something else aside from just that.
What do you mean? No, I'm just saying this is what I see systematically.
California leans where?
I would say, okay, so California does lean left. And I'm not.
And they're moving here in mad droves.
And they are. And which is why I'm saying I'm definitely okay with it, because I want to see the West Coast. Everybody moves out. Right. Eventually, property value is going to crash. The people can't stay. I'm going to buy Oceanside for cheap.
Your Texas will go blue. It almost went blue already this cycle.
Listen, but I don't care about what color we are. I made money with Obama in office. I made money when the Bushes were in office.
It don't matter who's in there.
You the president, you ain't nobody.
But all of those,
You're nobody. You're not
all of those
dictating
wacky laws that
my
they have in
pocket.
California.
Oh, they're stupid. But even being an aftermarket supplier like we are, I learned this week that I have to put tags on the stuff that I ship to California. Customers in California, I now have to write, this causes cancer. I'm like, are you serious? The welding wire that I built it with could have caused me cancer to start with. And now you're concerned.
Now you have to
come on.
live your
But
life
then,
towards those
so-
wacky laws.
Right. So then you get those that, let's use the word stereotypical. I'll be real careful how I walk around this
I'm just
place.
saying.
I'm going to get kicked off my own show.
California's in
But-
Texas.
Now, so they're very let's build lithium batteries. Let's have cars that run around, and it takes more to strip the lithium. The pipeline stuff stops. I mean, this goes all kinds of ways. Listen, keep moving out of California. Eventually, property value is going to drop. I'm retiring on the water. I'm done. I've watched it enough to know that all I need is green to buy up the place I need.
So what? So you know we're in this real estate thing that's going on, and people are buying things.
Yeah, right now.
People are going into debt. Dude, $300,000 house, like what, $1,200,
But yeah,
$1,500 a month?
you got $1 million house in Cali, which is what, 2-bedroom, maybe 1 bath. You come here with $1 million.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah,
I did. Okay, so let's see. We're
Bro.
back. Hold on. Go back to the start of COVID. We were still kind of slowly moving around places. I ran into a guy from California who just moved here, and I was like, "So what's it like, man?" We got out of the car. We pulled up the post office same time. Get out. I see California license plates. I'm thinking to myself, like, "Bro, what did you?" Oh gosh, I was like, "What kind of blue law did you bring with you today?" We get to talking. The guy's like, "This is interesting." The guy was like, "Man, property value was so high." He's like, "The taxes and things that I was paying." He goes, "You're outvoted like 8-9 to 1 if you're standing against the blue." He said, "It's that bad." He said, "You literally, your vote doesn't matter for nothing." And he goes, "What sucks is here I am paying all the taxes that they're increasing because the people who are running them increase. They're not doing anything to pay the taxes themselves. Why do they care?" He goes, "So it's all bull crap. It's all BS." He said he hated the place. He said, I had this big, beautiful home. He said, "I sold it there." He goes, "I moved here. I'm paying cash for a house." And he's living in one of these super nice neighborhoods, right? Because we got some beautiful neighborhoods just around the Katy area.
People are coming in with cash offers.
Yeah, man, that's not normal. Snapping them up.
Not normal. They're having bidding wars, raising. If you want to sell something for $300,000, they're like, "I'll give you $310,000." Huh?
Yeah,
Trying to pay it in cash. They're coming.
that's
You
true.
know that's not Texas, man. They're not coming from Texas.
No, but they're selling off what they have there now. Why? Value's high enough. Other people buying it. It's going to crash.
So here's the other thing, and we keep talking about COVID, but this is our world today. For me, for example, I'm working in an office. In reality, I could work from anywhere on the planet. Yeah, I could work from anywhere on the planet as long as I have an internet connection. If you give me internet connection,
Yeah, I could.
and a laptop, I can work from anywhere.
That's where now you need a laptop or you damn phone.
So now, why live in California, pay high taxes, pay high life, everything over there. The cost of living is extremely high there. Why live there if you can still work for that same company but live somewhere else?
Yeah, that's true.
So these people are leaving New York, but mainly
Well, not a lot of New York. New York
York's
is
dead too. New York's dead, but they're not coming here so much as people from California. I had a guy telling me he went to Costco. He's like, "Man, every time I go to Costco, I'm running into somebody from California." It's like they just got here. I mean, if you want to talk about borders
I think they said
and people invading,
they're talking about
Californians.
I think upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 people a day are leaving California,
dude.
and that number's probably higher. At
There's
this point.
Facebook groups. I know we're out here on Facebook. There's Facebook groups. I saw it, the report yesterday. Lady has a Facebook group of people that want to leave Cali and come to Texas, man.
Yeah.
So things are changing.
It ends in this. So the greatest thing about Texas, for me, is that whole mentality of come and take it. I've never went to a place and felt so well. Like I fell in love.
Yeah,
First
you
time
came by yourself. You didn't bring 100,000 people from California with you.
What you trying to say? Ray?
No, I'm
What you
saying
trying to say?
I think you came by yourself. Had you come in,
Oh no!
It's shift from Ohio.
When I got
all these people from Ohio coming down here.
when I got to Katy, I-10 was still under construction. So remember, because it used to be
for years.
It used to be the feeder roads went over, and they switched it, and they said, "Oh, well, we'll make everything go under." I'm like, well, I got here in the midst of all that. 8.5 years I drove. 8 years I drove from Katy to 610 and DeSoto over to DeSoto. I worked in Acres Homes, so I made that trip, and it was 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes, what it always took, and it's 25 to 45 extra minutes to go to work because of traffic. And I thought, man, people, please stop moving here. I purposely today live my life in such a way that, trust me, if you're looking for me at the shop, I ain't here till 10. You know why? Y'all are still on the road. I ain't trying to ride with you.
They're still on the road.
And I'm not going home till I know y'all are off my streets. The best thing was the freeze. I'm sorry some people suffered, but bro, I was like, now we back home. I got nobody on the road with me. I'm all good. Yeah. The place is packed. Yeah. Stupid packed. You can't get anywhere. And it's the amount of traffic from people coming here. And this is just the Katy area. I don't really go outside this place much. I only run into town when I got to, and that stuff is pre-planned. Trust me, I'm looking at the maps. I'm trying to figure out my way. I'm not trying. Y'all come down here. Listen, we might be Houston strong, but y'all are Houston dumb when it comes to driving. I've said that over and over again. Got no patience. No.
That's all we need to get a Tesla.
We need to get a Tesla.
Yeah. Listen, the drivers here are so bad that even if they had pre-programmed cars, they still crash into each other because we wouldn't know how to live without all the crashes. And our tow truck drivers would starve to death.
Oh man.
A Tesla truck.
So it's beneficial to the overall economical growth of the area. We'll just leave it at that.
I'm just saying, our world, because everybody keeps talking about let's go. Can't wait till we go back to normal.
There's no more normal. There's no normal.
Normal is whatever you accept for today.
There is no more normal.
Yeah, your normal has to be the choice. Again, go to the gym today. Go tomorrow. Give it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. The normal that you have will change. And you can apply that all over your life. Mentally the same way as everything else. You really can do this spiritually. There's easy ways to change and get around what I'm not so comfortable all the time going out, And I say not just because of the pandemic scare or whatever else. Add a lot of other stuff to that, and it's not a lot of it's become less and less enjoyable to get out and go into public when people are so fearful of each other, or and because if it wasn't if it wasn't the pandemic, quote unquote, if it wasn't COVID, if it wasn't the vaccine or the mask, before that, we're getting something else shoved down our throats of why we shouldn't like each other to start with.
It's my passport.
So passport? Uh-oh. See that? Hold on.
It's my passport.
Hey, let me go make a Xerox of this. I think I can wipe that out, bro. No, okay, so they're being said, I hate to get back on these vaccine things, but because we're here. So the past week, right, I started going out without my mask. I talked to a family member up north. They told me what it's like back in Ohio. And I thought, man, I'm really not taking full advantage of the liberties that I have living in Texas, because we are a unmasked mandated. And if people want you to wear it because you go in a restaurant, listen, I'm still trying to respect your things. But even the baseball games, the little stuff, people's lives are being affected and changed so much. And I think what it does is further push some aggravation into others for what they're suffering and going through based on what the leadership in front of them wants. And so there being, again, I openly invited more people from Ohio to please come join me in Texas, bro. I would get up and move.
We just talked about that.
Ohio? They bring the potatoes?
Now he's inviting people from Ohio to come.
They got good potatoes?
Who, Ohio?
or is it, which one is it?
Which one? From Ohio?
Yeah.
I think it's more cornfields and soybeans.
Okay. Where's that, where they made the potatoes at? Is that Ohio?
Idaho.
I was thinking
Idaho.
Yeah, bring those people, Idaho. Bring the potatoes.
Yeah. Anyhow, this is in overall, I decided not to wear my mask. So not wearing my mask, I go in and people are like, you want a mask on? I'm like, I know I got vaccinated. They're like, yeah, but you still should have a mask on.
Yeah, that's.
Then why did I get the vaccine?
That's when I got it.
And that is my constant.
I went to places without it.
So that's why I don't talk to people who don't wear masks inside, because I know they're doing it.
Trina, you know this firsthand.
They're poking the bear.
Who, me?
Y'all are crazy.
That is poking the bear.
No. Hey, I'm able. Listen, I case the joint.
I won't talk to
I make sure that there's more people not wearing it before I walk in and putting it on. But I did go to Lowe's this week and skip Lowe's. My Snapchat story, if anybody watched it and you're friends with me, it wasn't the mask this week that got me. It was the fact that I got to go in and cash out my own parts. So I'm like, what are we even paying people for? Like now I got you expect me to wear a mask and I got to check. I'm trying to bend down, things going all over my face. I can't scan anything out. I'm getting frustrated and aggravated. I went outside, flipped a couple of carts. No, I'm just
But you see
But-
that everywhere you go now, like the stores, there's less people.
There's less and less people, or
Oh,
they're
yeah.
funneling people, right? Get this. I don't know what's more dangerous: having somebody squirt hand sanitizer on themselves between each transaction as they handle money, or for me to just trust that the people next to me are going to use hand sanitizer. Because you know what I didn't see? I didn't see hand sanitizer at the self-service stations.
Mm.
I like I said, in the overall, it's just one more thing on the list that I have to stand back and question. What kind of BS are we really being fed? Not saying they don't exist, but till somebody can prove me otherwise, the people and agendas and all the rest of the crap. Yeah,
And truthfully,
I'm staying conspiracy. I'm staying full conspiracy.
It's hard not to.
it's not approved. My friend sent me
What's not approved?
the FDA. None of those Pfizer.
Oh,
none of them are not approved.
No, you're part of
Yeah,
an
it's a test study.
experiment.
Yeah.
You're part of an
That's
experiment.
what I said, man. I like you. I hope you live. If you,
No, I'm gonna leave.
if you
Remember
grow,
what I told you last
listen,
time?
if you end up looking like one of those lab rats from like 1993 and you grow an extra ear on your
Nah,
back,
fuck
Look,
that.
I'm still gonna love you,
Look,
and I'll even talk into it. Okay,
Only thing I'm gonna
we'll get
say.
it pierced. I'll go
Only
with.
thing I want to say that everybody got the vaccination is that I'm giving headshots when you guys turn into zombies. That's the only thing.
my
I love
my
it.
friend sent me a message. He's like, I tell him, hell yeah, I'm gonna be the next zombie, the
Yeah,
leader of
because-
the
yeah,
zombies.
yeah.
Nah,
I mean, a headshot. I mean, I'm a Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, nothing but headshots. I'm not missing.
So they're gonna be the interesting thing. A lot of people are working from home. Right.
that's what they want
A
now.
lot of people are working from home. We're seeing. So I can't figure out how so many people are working from home. We're in a pandemic. Nobody's getting paid. There's not jobs out there, but yet the roads are full of people.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Full
I
of people?
believe, and again, I'm not trying to promote Texas, so if you're not from Texas, don't come
We're
here.
full. Do not
Yeah.
move here unless you're.
But I
invited.
really believe that there are jobs out there.
Yeah.
I'm seeing,
There is.
I'm seeing jobs. I'm like, now how?
Well, the fact that I had to go
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
self-service station and there was a line to get through it tells me that you're making enough money to hire somebody. You know,
their job. So, again, was not all negative for everyone. There are people who have been able to. Remember, I said my main thing is to survive the pandemic. You said, "Hey, look, you could even thrive,
overcome."
Yeah, but there are people, there are companies that are actually doing well and increasing what they did before. They've been positive. I know it's bad altogether, but there are positive things coming out of it as well. And that's just the world that we have to live in.
But
We have to be accepting the change.
So, and I hear what you're saying, but I still struggle to say there's so much that they're telling me on media. Again, goes back to my community. I'm watching what's going on around
Right.
of how good or bad this is. And we're the fourth largest city in the world, or not?
We're third now.
Fourth,
We're
third.
Come on, man.
We bounced back.
America,
and forth.
America is the world. Let's don't get it wrong. I thought this was America. No, I'm just playing. But in the United States, we're the fourth largest in Houston, and we're growing by the day.
Yeah.
And people in places like California, which were larger than us, which the Los Angeles area is bigger, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
But if people are leaving there and coming here, what is our population? What is the flip flop of population going to look like? In the middle of a quote unquote pandemic, it's just almost like a gold rush of a sort to go to where the jobs are.
It's an exodus of California. It's an exodus of New York City.
Which takes it back. Property value is going to be cheap. Hold on, keep making your money. Double down.
Not yet. Because they had so many people.
Yeah,
but because they had so many millions of people still living in California, and that property value was so high. It is still so high.
The day you walk in here and start talking about building a wall around California to keep them out too, I'm gonna laugh. No,
Look.
I'm just joking.
Look,
I'm just joking.
I want to say something because I know. Look, I am a full opportunity racist. I'm not just.
I'm a full opportunity.
I'm not just. Yeah.
I like that.
Look. The problem is when you're just racist against a certain group. If you just hate everybody, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm Archie Bunker in here. I don't like a lot of people.
He wouldn't have made it in cancel
No, he
culture.
would. He would be PC. He would be politically incorrect right now. You know what I mean?
He would be a show on HBO.
Oh man, he would be. No, he'd been cut off. But the thing I'm saying is that, and I don't hate people from California. What I'm just saying is that the norms that we are talking about and the things that we have been used to before the pandemic will not exist at the end of the pandemic or as we get out of it. We are looking for a new world. The economies are going to be different. People are spending money in different ways. People are working from home still. So what I was saying was there are a lot of people who aren't ever going to go back into the office and work again.
Oh no,
People are
That's
making a
just-
shit out of money, man.
But they're going to be doing it from home in their draws.
So you ain't been on social media in a while. Some of the way that some adults spell who have children, do you really want them homeschooling these kids?
Hey, look, man. No, they not home. Look, by now, especially in Texas. Look, I did it too. I tried to keep my son at home as long as I could, but man, they have to go back to school.
They have to go back.
They have to go back to in classroom learning. He was begging me to go back to school. When have you heard a kid beg his parent to go to school? He's begging me, like, Dad, please. And I'm like, no, because it wasn't safe yet, based on all the data that we got.
Right.
But remember what we were talking about a while back? There are certain ways of controlling people, and fear is a real big motivator to actually control people. And so if you're telling somebody that this invisible enemy is out there, and we talked about the divide and conquer,
Fear.
it's fear.
Is that media, man? They're feeding you.
But
No, it's driven
and
by
that's
fear.
not one side or the other. It's now this huge push. So my big thing is, let's look above this level. Who is profiting off of this?
Well, not
The
Johnson and
pandemic?
Johnson at this point. They done lost their stake.
They already got money from the government to create the vaccines
Then
anyway.
Pfizer, the rest of
That
Bill
was-
Gates.
And then-
shut down.
And
man.
then where are they going? with
Zuckerberg
this?
gets a wind of what you just
What
said.
is
We
all
don't have a show.
what is all of this all about? What is all this? So I believe wholeheartedly that there's something out there. There's COVID virus out there. I believe it 100%.
100%. There's something.
But is it out there in the frequency and the quantity, like they say? You know, they look, or they make us think that out of 10 people, 7 or 8 people might have it, or one person inside a group of 10 would have it. I don't believe that that's true. Based on my research, and my research is being out there. I've been in areas, didn't have on a mask, and I've been with people that I know, and I haven't gotten the virus.
Well, my Mario, when he went through it, we built the exhaust underneath his car that night. He was having feverish symptoms. I mean, I was next.
And
to
you're
the
right
guy,
next to him?
and you know what? Nothing. But at the same time, I went through like 2 months of headaches at the start of the year.
Me too.
The thing is, I just never went and got tested. I don't even trust the test swab. That's my problem.
But I think that so what I was saying was these people, us who've been out, who've been moving, who haven't been,
Where I was
who
around.
didn't lock ourselves down.
So
Yeah.
We've already been exposed. So
Well-
it's like chickenpox. You remember when you chickenpox?
Yeah.
Did you guys just when you were little?
twice.
I
When
never
you
had
get
that.
chickenpox, if it's 2 kids, if it's one kid that got chickenpox, and the other one didn't, say go on in there.
Go on in there.
Go on
And
in there and
if
get
your
it.
cousin had chicken
That's
pox,
right. If you're
you all showed up to stay all night for the weekend.
That's
and
right.
You walked in. You were like, dude, what happened to you? Did
Go
you
ahead.
get an ant pile? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got chicken pox.
Yeah.
What? Too late, bro.
You got it.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
it. And your parents pulled this
But
on
they
you.
did it on purpose. But
Yeah.
why did they do it? So you might as well get it now.
Get it now.
Because
You know
it's
that
worse
they
later.
did it to me. I didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
I never got a chicken pox. And my mom sent me to my cousin's house a lot of times, and I never got it. I was immune to it.
But so I think the same thing with the virus. Some people, your genetic code, your DNA doesn't allow you to get
And
that.
they
Oh,
told me,
so-
if you
so-
get it now, it's
So
going to be
now
worse.
You're sounding like what the conspiracy elitist group says, that they're trying to sort people down and eliminate.
But you know,
It's the-
did I
you've
say
always
this on
said
this?
it's
I said
always
this,
been-
I said this on our
that's-
show before. This is a Thanos snap.
Mhm.
You know this. I said that. Did I say that here?
You did that. I said,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
Thanos snap. You remember on the Avengers, Thanos snapped and said, I'm going to get rid of half of the
Of
population.
the population.
Right.
That's what the movies are, man.
This
They're
is a
telling you
Thanos-
in front of us.
Dude, this is a Thanos snap.
I've proved the results. What? Okay, that was.
Greg tested. Hold on. She said Greg tested positive for COVID by a pregnancy test.
I have proved the
Proof.
results.
Yeah, they're oh. So
no.
okay, so in a world based with all the COVID, excessive people moving, jobs being out there, and everything else, it all kind of boils back to the same thing. You can take in all the information you want to, but in the end of the day, the only person in charge of your happiness, where you're going, everything else is you.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to get a hold of you, get a hold of your household first. Again, there's people who are leading their houses to one direction. Some are leading the other. All I simply ask that through this is we all find a way to start moving forward together and not,
Absolutely.
have the conversations. I'll never get off of that. My body, my choice. It's the same thing. It's just, and until I have some sort of conclusive, bro, I'm glad you're not sick. I would have really, that would have broke my heart. Like I would have not, liked to have seen that.
Again, I was okay, and maybe I hope I'm not becoming a hypochondriac out of all of this. I was okay with, especially all this noise that I've talked about, COVID, blah blah blah. I was okay with if we actually came up positive. My wife ran in the room. She said, "Test came back. Look at yours." And I'm sitting there like,
you don't want to see.
She already saw hers, but she wouldn't tell me, right?
Yeah.
Test came back because they text it to you.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
they
looking
texted.
like, I'm looking like, so then I go and I look at it, negative. I'm like, oh, it's negative. She said I was negative too. So we were both looking at each other like WTF.
Yeah. So what happened? Did I just have it? Okay, so do you have an allergies that happened, and you just mentally overthought what was going on?
Here.
No, I'm saying because your mentals can affect your body.
That's the other thing too.
You can make yourself weaker or stronger.
This message,
Yeah.
this strong message that is out there day in, day out, all day long, 24 hours a day of COVID is out there. You're going to get COVID if you don't do this, or you're going to get that fear mongering that we talk about. That's being drilled into us. That
it's like you're going to
if
get.
I had a cold, what if it was just a cold? What if my son gave me a cold?
The lottery ticket of fear that you get is that if you get COVID, the first thing that goes through your mind is, "Am I going to die?"
Yeah.
And far too often, we're living in a "Am I going to die" society versus "What am I going to do today to live" society.
But how does a man react if he thinks that he's going to die versus a man that thinks he's got a cold? Is there a difference in that?
Well, hold on. And I say there is. So the challenge to every man should be start living every day like you are going to die.
No, that's true.
Yeah. What's the back off? That's
For me though, I don't deal well under fear. I don't like being afraid. So as a kid, I used to be scared of. Oh, you guys probably grew up the same way too. The closet. It would be dark. I couldn't sleep without the light on.
I didn't like put my feet on.
I was scared.
Bed, bro.
That too. I
used
used to be scared of the dark because of the closet, man. And so I already knew as a kid I don't do well with fear, man. So you know what I did, man? Cut off all the lights and I sat in the dark.
I think that's Brian.
To conquer the fear, because if you don't conquer your fear, you get controlled by it. And I think there's a lot of control going on in our world today.
Which still leads back to the same, they're pushing the media, what we believe, to continue to control that fear factor. Okay, if Texas has done so well that people want to move here, and we don't have a mask mandate, the same people moving out of
and we're
California
open, we're not locked
under
down.
this huge, we got to wear a mask mandate. They're still coming here wearing their mask, but at least they're able to move around freely.
Yeah.
Open the businesses up, man. Let people be next to each other. Stop holding the people back. You're going to get a group of people. My biggest fear is that you got two opposing sides on this, right? We don't have a balance on. We're pushing back and forth. What do you really do if that pissed off group of people who actually own guns say, "No, we've had enough"? Because I don't own a gun. I'm fair about it. I don't own one. I don't tell you you can't. But what's going to happen if those people who get pissed off, the elephant in the room, and they say, "You know what, man, we really have had enough." Because the group of people who stormed the Capitol and did that crap, I don't believe in any of that crap. You find somebody who is unhappy with a gun and knows what they're doing, they're picking you off from hundreds of yards away. They would not have stormed the Capitol. They'd have knocked down the people around it and everything else and then charged the place. So military strategy people sitting around owning guns and sitting on the backside, these people are not idiots who are going to charge the front door and just be like, "I'm coming on in." No.
That's a whole nother subject.
No, it can be, but that's the same kind of I think what we're seeing is that we're getting a lot of people who are emotionally charged over a lot of different subjects, and almost like it's what can we possibly do today to make you feel so self-inflicted and hurt that you're going to go out and be pissed at somebody else? What can I do to, I feel like I do not watch the news. If you come into the shop, we're either playing sports. I refuse to put the news channels on. I don't put news channels on. I don't want to hear about it. Anything that's that bad is probably going to be texted across my phone, and we all have these things stuck in our back pocket. If it's that bad, you're going to get a mass text alert long before you're going to see it on the news.
So for me,
if you see it by then, it's probably far too late anyway.
I think people individually, if I sit here and I talk to you individually, in reality, we're doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I find that, even though we may have two different opposing views on everything, and in reality, we're not far off. I mean, we're kind of saying the same stuff.
Yeah.
As we're talking, like, I don't trust this, I don't believe that either. We're doing it from the same sides. So I think what's happened is because we become so tribalized, we're all listening to people who spout the same thing that we spout. We're listening to people who have the same ideas or they came from the same area. We're in these small tribal things now instead of sitting back and talking to people who we normally may not talk to or just have an opposing viewpoint.
Yeah.
Just because you have an opposing viewpoint doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to talk to that person.
You should find a responsible adults who have opposing viewpoints before they totally choose to not walk around and ignore each other completely. I feel like the one thing that says that you're an adult is you have to have control of yourself mentally and physically, right? Which means if we had a conversation, I saw that you got so upset that or back and forth, that we thought the other person was going to explode and go off.
Mhm.
Stop pushing. Don't poke the bear. Walk away, right? But understand something. If you go into that situation expecting you're going to get, I think most of the time what you're expecting to get out of it, if you go in expecting to have communication with another person, then you're not going to be openly just attacking another person. You're not really stepping on the things that are too hard, but you've got to be able to listen just as much as you talk.
But I've seen, and I hate to blow everything back on the media, I've seen the media just pump people up. And so when you're talking about, if you're seeing that I'm getting to that point, you're like, whoa. But the media, guess what?
They don't care.
No. But
So I've seen, and again, I'm not calling any side. I'm just telling you that they're doing this and what they've done. That person, you've disconnected, and I've tried to do that too. I try to disconnect more so than I normally have from the media because I now understand that they're doing that to us. But if you don't understand that, and those people are sitting there watching that, getting mad because they've been watching the news or whatever all day, and they go out into the world, it's like a ticking time bomb.
And so a big part of mine has to do with people who deal on a more spiritual level, right? I'll take that back and discuss that. You get. Oh, did anybody see the 666 Satan shoes recently?
Oh, and I didn't give that.
The outfall from what I've seen was the same group of people who preaching love end up with so much hate in their heart over a gym shoe, right? That they started to attack other people. And these are people that I thought in most respects would be a little more grounded in their, kindness, courteousness to other people, loving, accepting. Like, I saw some people getting in some arguments over some things. And I'm like, guys, y'all just need the slightest little thing to get charged up and fight about, and you will.
But it's been a constant message. They've been doing that. And when I say they, more defining, the media has been doing this.
Who is they?
Yeah. I always say, hey, we say they.
Because we don't know.
The media in this instance has been doing that all this time while we haven't had much to do. Because if you put a person, let's say in lockdown, they're at home all day long, and you keep pumping these images and this same message.
The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. And
you definitely trying to get us kicked off the air long before we ever spread a message.
I'm just saying.
You have a dozen viewers and you're going to get us thrown up.
So,
shout out to you guys. Shout out.
What I would recommend is everybody try to disconnect from the matrix. We're all plugged into the same matrix. Disconnect from that. Look more into your community and see what's happening in your community.
Right.
Who you can help around.
If you're watching your community and you're seeing that there are people that are getting sick in your community, that's real to you. What they're saying that's going on in California or in New York, that's, even though I have family in some of those, that's not as real as what's in my local community. Right. Look outside your window and judge for yourself instead of listening to that man in the box. Yeah, that's the matrix.
Too many. Well, I think again, Huey Lewis in the news, I guess, somewhere in the 80s to give up age. He's like, that people love dirty laundry. So,
well, true.
Yeah,
and the news doesn't like to report positive stories.
No, because that's not the reason.
Because it's the same thing as the doctors. The doctors don't get paid to heal you; they get paid to treat you. The media, listen, if they reported a story and that's all they had and they walked away from it, they go and look for more things to keep more people more intrigued because they need those viewers. They need those programs. They need that mindset change. And it's to the point that I said at Easter I had friends and family members who did not see each other because somebody had a vaccine, didn't have a vaccine, somebody's wearing a mask. The drunk uncle shows up and doesn't want to wear a mask at all. I'm like, you guys AR-15.
He didn't show up this time.
That was at our house. That was our place, right? Pistols on each side. No. But yeah, people who would not interact with others because of, and it's like, how can you be family? We're not at neighbors anymore. We're at the family level where people are finding hate and distrust and things over what they ultimately is a fear, because one set is afraid to die and the other set is standing a little more like me, saying, if I'm dead, I'm dead. Like I'm trying to live, and if this thing's coming to get me, it's coming to get me. Like there's not running the boogeyman.
But you have to understand that there is something somewhere very wrong if your family can't get together like it used to.
Yeah.
There's something,
and it's on both. It's on both sides.
No, yeah, I'm not blaming anybody, but what I'm saying is there's something wrong, and we all, instead of looking at each other with those mean eyes and being upset and falling into the conflict, we need to understand or question, why are we at each other's throats? What's changed from last Easter, last Christmas, last Thanksgiving?
And the only
what's changed to make us like that? COVID didn't do it.
I'm saying the common denominator at this point, though, what everybody seemingly blaming it on. And I don't know, I said, again, I don't know how you would not. My grandmother calls where we get the phone call, Granny's got COVID, and she's like, I'm dying at home. I'm in the car. I'm leaving right now. Right? I'm going. And whether or not we're going to lose her or not, or what she has or what she doesn't have, I'm willing to take that risk. Right? I think that's who I am. I'm willing to be okay with when I said it, because I don't really have 100% conclusive. And at the same time, I haven't had anything stuck in my face. Nobody's tested me, and I haven't had. I'm fortunate, I feel, at this point, because you've been tested and had the nose swab. Some of our viewers have had the same thing. Some people are having to do it, and I'm not knocking anybody who's got the vaccine. You got the vaccine, you took it, and for whatever reason it was, some people are having to take it for their jobs. I'm just saying it's not conclusive enough for me, but I'm not going to allow, whether or not you've had a vaccine, not had a vaccine, mask or no mask, or what you're asking of me. If you're saying, well, I can't come around because I don't have a vaccine, it kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'm hoping, how long is this crap going to last? How long is the pandemic stuff going to last? How long is it going to be used?
Now they're
how
trying
long is
to
it
give
going to be
money.
used?
Like they're trying to do recurring money now.
Oh yeah. Well, it's easy.
More money?
Well,
No,
that's
like recurrent.
Woo.
What does that mean?
Monthly, like two to three monthly every month.
So who's supposed to put the money in?
Into the pandemic, it's done.
We don't have money like that to
Well,
give out.
No,
and
he's have to ask China if they're okay with giving it to us.
He's so close. No, he's so close to. Yeah.
No.
Remember what we talked about last time? And he's so close for it.
But so, and I asked my wife this. Let's hit the reset button real quick. What if this wasn't real?
What if it's all made up?
What if COVID?
What if it really
I
don't
apologize,
exist?
because I know there are people that are out there watching this.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is, let's hit the reset button and let's look at this like we're watching a movie. Like same thing I told my wife. Let's say that we're watching a movie and we're watching the movie Outbreak, and then in reality, at the end of the show, they find out that hey, it wasn't real. It was maybe politically motivated, and not on even a U.S. government level, on a global level, right? Because what's happening is it's a pandemic which is globally, it's affecting the globe. But what if
conspiracy time?
But you're right.
But you're right.
The reason why I go to the extreme to say this is I try to think, well, then how would I react if this wasn't real? If it wasn't outside the door, if it wasn't outside the door like they're telling us on the news and everything, it's right outside your door. It's right outside the door. And if you go out there without a mask, what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't there?
Which leads me to, I still think that when they told people they're going to get sick, that whether it's an actual virus, I still kind of feel very heavily that they did something and something got out and they're trying to deal with it.
I believe that
But
too.
at the same time, I think that they have the same kind of, well, it got out, it got contained, but if we had enough fear in it that we can control what happens with it, what doesn't, because at this point it's a chemical weapon used against humanity. And I ultimately feel like that might be where it came from. But if you were just able to tell people, hey man, and then how do you keep people scared? Well, people come in, when you're in war, you don't really calculate who dies. You just expect that there's going to be casualties.
Right.
And we don't go into war thinking, well, we're not going to kill everybody from this age to that age. We're not going to have any of these other things. And when you're at a war for what could possibly be financial and political control of the entire world, which Alexander the Great.
That's the drive.
Yeah, you have societies in the past. Alexander the Great. They conquered what they thought at the time was the world. You have Rome, who did the same thing. Egypt did the same thing. You have these societies in the past who felt like they got total control. So what really happened to the societies today is they're up and gone because they're not here with us anymore.
Right.
Did somebody finally get in total control and that was the end of all? Yeah. Or was it aliens? That's a whole nother conspiracy we can get into another day.
I still believe there's shapeshifters and shit around.
But I believe
our audience and ourselves are not ready for that one.
Continue with that. So for example, Jesus has the vaccine, and now all of a sudden there are reports that come out and say, well, the vaccine won't protect you from blah 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 variant, to create more fear.
Yeah. Or you end up going to the doctor out of fear, and they just decide who lives and dies that day by whatever they inject in your body while you're laying in that bed. And just the same way they would do cancer patients. It's a study of what's going to work and what doesn't. When those people think they're going to die, you can subject them to anything you want to and see if they live or die. And you know what? They're already
control them.
Yeah, you're already controlling them, and they're already afraid. So,
you're right.
Whether or not our world is a very scary place when we start thinking about it on that level. And I really believe that it came from somewhere. Yep. I don't believe that this is it's man-made. Yeah, I don't believe that it's something natural that happens in nature. No. You can't make me believe that.
So did you ever watch the first 18 minutes of Stephen King's The Stand? I'm gonna send that to you. You need to check it out. It's cool, but look at it. No, I'm saying look at it with a very open mind. I've seen it before. Of where it starts and what they end up discussing in the whole in the movie, and it's like, it's just a super flu. It just does its job. It does what it's supposed to, and then it gets out of control. And like I said, it doesn't have to lead to being a god devil situation like the movie. Just simple fact that if somebody made a mistake and it gets out of control, it's just like being at a party. Things get out of control. Yeah. Next thing you know, man, you got problems, and I kind of think that's where we're at. And then
I drank too much tequila.
Right? Tequila showed up, and the rest of the party went out the door.
And you wake up, where am I?
The world is a scary place when you start to look at it from different eyes. So to me, you have to try to look at it from different. And so I'm not doing that. I don't want to be callous and saying when I say that, what if it wasn't real? But I'm doing it to put myself in another viewpoint. Yeah. Look at it.
You got to see the viewpoints.
Yeah, if we're sitting here, spin it around and let's look at it from a different angle.
Well,
and see if does it look the same?
What does hold true is that most people, if you hear that somebody's got COVID and they end up in a hospital, and they say, well, they're on the ventilator.
Yeah.
Oh, ventilators. That's a death sentence.
That is bad.
Right.
Yes.
So maybe whatever they've done or studied on that person, I mean, you lose lab rats. I don't know how else to explain that, but that's kind of still how I see it. You lose lab rats. We don't have enough conclusive data for whatever has been done, and which would, I guess, take us back to the start of the pandemic. If it was really that bad, if we had that much concern and worry, probably should have stayed locked down in our own houses. Send me some money.
I agree with that, but
they didn't do that.
No, but we tried. But there were people that were talking about their rights,
and they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I knew it too. I like these motherfuckers. Excuse me. They're gonna be sitting there talking about their rights. We got our rights.
And that's where we're at now. I have my right to wear my mask. There we go. Like I never stopped saying I didn't have my rights.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to have one of those. What they call us? An essential worker job. I was out here in case the people broke down.
Oh, when they said the essential shit, I remember
they said essential. I was like, hold on a second, let me see what that paperwork says. Bet. And I printed off letters for myself and the people that were with me, and I'm like, we are going to work, and we're gonna grow this business.
I look at it like this too. What if we were in spaceships? We're in the future now. We're all sitting in spaceships, and then in order to go outside the spaceship, you got to put on your mask.
Yeah.
But some smart guy, because he's got rights, he doesn't want to put on his mask. Well, I was like, well, go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll step on outside.
Bye. We'll do a backflip.
But what's the difference? Damn. So if we're saying, hey, man, it's something real bad outside, if we can lock down for, let's say, a month, let's just keep everybody locked down for a month. But then these dudes are talking about their rights. They want to go outside the spaceship with no mask on.
You ain't coming with me?
Nah, I'm not.
You ain't been wearing that mask some of the times and places you've been going to.
Look, man. Only thing that can hurt me, man. I would take my shirt off and show this S on my chest if it's not kryptonite, bro. If it's not kryptonite. No. But again,
But
What,
the view.
I'm not scared of it. So I'll go back to, I'm not scared of it now in the same sense of how it started, because we got more data. We saw a lot of things happening. So again, I keep telling you guys, no new friends. I don't know about that guy right there. Yeah, I don't know about that guy. Hey, no new friends. I stay around the same people who have been living the same type of lifestyle.
Right.
Now, if I saw that, you like, oh man, what happened, Charles? Charles was Snapchatting or TikToking that he was at a rave last night. I'm not hanging around Charles anymore because Charles is in a high risk group to me. Now I still hang around his sister.
You're just saying I ain't got any kind of
Because I got the bags of Johnson & Johnson.
No. But look, even if you had the Johnson & Johnson and you're sitting there showing TikTok videos and you getting out in the club, I'm like, I like to chill on that one.
There's because and here's the thing is, no, bro, I would, oh, Lord mercy, I'd be more concerned about people are just hooking up with random people who go home from the clubs.
That's
and
the question I had.
They're spreading already.
That's what I've been doing the last past 2 weeks.
Single? How can you be single in 2020, 2021? How can you be single? I mean, you know, it was already risky if you brought somebody home for one night stand, right? If you think about it on that level.
But now you're walking around in public taking one night stands with your nostrils with everyone around you.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at her like, man, she looked, I don't know, she breathed funny. I don't know. I can't trust her. It's a different world, man.
She breathes funny.
I don't know those nostrils. I don't know.
Where are we at here on time? About 13 minutes left. So other people who are on here, we see the 4 viewers, some likes, some hearts. We appreciate it. Again,
we had like 50 comments. So
good. So when we get into the end, ultimately, I hope that every one of you are enjoying this. I hope that you like it. I'm still sitting here with 13 minutes away. We have some pasta. We have some more of that. I mean, whatever kind of.
Yeah.
I really hope that whatever you're doing with those cattle, where you're getting from, that stuff takes off. It's probably some of the best. People are still telling me how good the hamburgers were.
Oh, hell yeah!
That you dropped off. So
that's
something I'm looking at. But at the same time, as we're fixing to share bread with each other here in a few minutes, take a minute, like, share, continue to comment, put it out there with other people. I'm still looking. We're always looking for that one.
Yeah.
The 99 are headed. They're going to be all right. They're pretty safe. There's that one person that needs somebody to talk to. And that's why that's I said the big reason why we're here is to help other people. We're dealing with it. You guys are dealing with it. We're all living through it at one time. There's plenty of other things that we'd like to touch and subjects, but it's such a huge factor. And having you gone last week,
man, we didn't get to talk about DMX today.
No,
we didn't talk about the Chauvin trial.
The what?
Chauvin trial. How do you say his name? Minnesota.
That's
still going on.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that are going on in the world. We can kind of the big elephant.
Because you've been watching the news. I didn't know about that.
I would never call you.
Now, but the news are in the phone.
But at the end, we really do want to help build.
Oh no! And what about that lieutenant that got sprayed in the cops truck?
Oh, yeah, even that. Yeah,
I saw that.
I don't watch the news.
Yeah, no, that was not in the news. That was right on the damn phone. It popped up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. I thought it was fake, and then it was real.
I don't.
It's just
another fear right there.
Look, there's systemic racism that goes on. It happens. That's all it.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And the thing is that we focus so much of it about here in America that we're not paying attention to where it's happening in other countries too, right?
Yeah,
we don't. We're so focused on telling each other here how bad we are that we're not really spreading the positive message to be better here, so we can kind of spread that to the rest of places in the rest of the world. Like that's America at fault, and I'll point fingers where they belong. Is not taking that step forward. We talk a lot about doing the right thing. You're supposed to wear the mask. You're not supposed to wear the mask. You're supposed to have an ID to vote or not have an ID to vote, or who's coming in, who's going out. Ultimately, the place is a mess. We're just doing our best to try to get through, get by, overcome. And meanwhile, as men, as leaders of our homes and our lives, we're constantly facing issues that are for the most part, men are just not supposed to sit down and talk about. You're not supposed to deal with certain things. You're supposed to hide it. You're supposed to suppress it. You got to have that friend, man. You got to have that gym buddy.
I believe
that spiritual buddy. You got to have
the alpha man.
Again, it goes back to the fear thing for me. Don't let fear control you. And if you don't talk about it, that monster just sits there and grows. And it's sitting there on your shoulder. Yeah. So to me, what I found, and even in some of my weakest points, I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. And we can get into it at later dates and other podcasts, but mental health is big too. So that's why, how I sit there and talk about mind, body, and spirit. All those things have to be together. If one of those is out of whack, man, and in particular, there are a lot of people walking around with a lot of stuff on their shoulders today. There's a lot of anxiety out there. There's a lot of fears that have been created, real or imaginary. Those things are affecting people. And we need to get those things out so they don't control our lives. We need to get those out so we don't have these crazy reactions to something that might be even something really small to you, but it's just huge to another person.
Hey, man, and it's affecting kids too.
It's affecting kids too.
Yeah, a lot.
Again, man, look, I'm not Republican or Democrat, but a lot of times as you hear me talk, you're going to feel me leaning. I'm probably center, but we have so many things that are in common because lockdowns, are they bad? Over a long run? Yeah. We weren't built to be separated. We were all built to be together.
Yeah.
We were built to break bread together. We weren't built to do Zoom calls as a life.
Built to be in community.
Yeah.
We're made to be in community.
And we talk about community all the time. As you separate people, man, we're going to notice that chinks in their armor and faults and errors because they have been in isolation too long.
Right. And far too often, instead of being a person who come along and help them to straighten that chink out or get them straightened up, put on the wrong, or even if it's you, things between the two of us, we don't ever get to a point where to help each other out. So, a couple more minutes. So leaning forward, right? Looking into next week. We'll see how this week goes. We are going to have our first actual person to sit down and have a communication talk with us on camera.
Nice.
So we're going to try the whole Zoomcast live thing next week with a gentleman by the name of Kenny Fuller. He's
nice.
super. I shared some of the music with you today.
Oh yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so he's coming on because let's say he's in Ohio and he's actually facing a lot of things that we are talking about here, but he gets to see them from a lot different perspective because of where he's at. I believe he works in a shipping warehouse facility or something other during the day. So interacting with a lot of people, a lot of boxes coming through, a lot of different diversity in that area. It's not the same place that I left and moved away from years ago. But I think he's going to bring an extra little insight to what's actually going on in some other places around us. Where you say, and I haven't seen I haven't been outside the country. I've never seen those other places. But for us to be able to bring somebody in that's still in our own country, who's having to live a life that's something totally different than what we're being able to enjoy at this moment. Like I said, the lockdown for me was when it first started, man, I didn't say, go full retard, but I went and bought, I'm open to say it. I went and bought seeds to plant and making sure if I just had a couple little, as long as I could listen, I knew I was here. And as long as I could make corn, grow corn, I was going to be able to make me some tortillas.
All of a sudden,
that was my immediate response to that was not about if I can get food from the store, but can I take care of myself?
Right.
But
and so remember, man, down 2 weeks ago now. So remember, I was talking about instead of us being so customer based, we're in this capitalistic environment, which is the U.S. But we need to be more self-sufficient, and part of it is that growing seeds. What are you going to do if the store is closed?
Right. You should.
And I'm not saying it as a prepper, but to use more self-reliability on ourselves and don't depend on our government to come in and swoop down and save us.
The smallest little thing for the community around us, if the freeze did not teach the people of Texas
that was
something,
big.
you missed out on the lesson of a lifetime.
That was big.
And if you're still living the same life you were before the freeze, whether it's how you insulate your house, whether you're keeping because we typically prepare for hurricanes, right? We're down. We're down for that. We will lose a couple days power. We're cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna drink all the tequila. We're gonna have
a week of zero.
No.
But
we got down to where it wasn't so much the week of zero that got us. It was that getting back to the stores, there was even a shortage of stuff coming in when people finally got out. What I guess would get me to is that if you're probably living a life of overabundance in the wrong ways, okay? Because you probably had things that you could have heated up and warmed up at home and taken care of, but we're so ready to just get out of where we're at and be back in our communities. And then by the time we're snapping up things that we're using, I just think, and overall, you should be better prepared in your own life, because what if you lose power today? You knew how to get by it in the warm.
No, man,
you can overcome that, but being in that kind of cold at the same time, being from where I grew up north, when it got cold like that, it was just another day as a kid, bro. Like I had
down
some.
here, man.
We had a good fat wet snow, man. The snowballs was awesome. Like I had a great time because I'd already been acclimated in my life for something that should have been a tragedy, and it wasn't that big a deal to me, you know. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the experiences. So people, but if you didn't, if you're not changing your life after the freeze, you really should do something with yourself.
Yeah.
Because hurricane
That's
season
true.
ain't promising to be no
Yeah.
better.
Oh no, and it's
what,
coming.
you know, and it's
I'm
on
like
its way.
Bear Grylls. I'm sleeping in the backyard. You know what I mean? I'm just going hard with it. I don't care anymore.
Well, and back to this, as we fix the closeout, it is starting to rain again. What do you say? You would like the rain, right? Because what's the rain do?
Man,
Rain don't last forever.
It doesn't
No,
last
no,
forever.
no.
Man, look, whatever I used to be scared of, I faced it head on.
Yeah.
I used to be scared of thunderstorms. Sat my ass out in the middle of a
I
thunderstorm.
couldn't imagine that. Would you like Thunder Buddies? With
The main thing, as a kid, man, I'm telling you, man, whenever I had something that I was just scared of, I said, man, I got to do something because I can't live this life like
Yeah,
that.
I grew up in a creepy
So
old
fear
house.
is not for me, man. I can't. No.
No, I grew up in a creepy old house. The wind would blow funny. The trees would
Oh,
the
yeah.
windows.
Oh, shit.
You hear the wind coming through. I was afraid of a lot of things as a kid. Anyhow, guys, anything else? Any questions? Keenan, again, we appreciate you watching. Dean, I'm just going to suggest that the Facebook users, probably you, because
Yes,
you quite ain't figured out how to go to the bottom link so we can see who you are. And I love you, but I know how you hard trying. You're just still not, you're not helping. But thank you so much. Trina, Mama T, love you so much. To my friends, family, and everybody else that watched, we love you. We're thankful to have Ray back.
Hey, Trina, don't use the word tone.
Don't
No,
use
no
the word
tone. No.
Hey Zeus, again, with you in a private thing, I keep praying for you and your family.
Oh, yeah,
Appreciate
thank
you coming through the
Yeah, man.
today's travesties and tragedies of your own. So we're all going through something. I just want everybody to know, just like three of us, y'all are not alone. You're not alone. We're here. We're always available. If you watch this, you see it, whether it's today, you go back and watch other ones, something hits you, you need to talk about something, find one of us on social media. Don't feel free to reach out. It's just like the suicide prevention line. Like suicide prevention, I think, is almost the point of reaching out every place of your life. Wherever you're having a struggle, you need somebody to talk to. I love to talk. I'll try to do more about listening whenever I'm around, but having you around, I don't have to talk as much. So that makes me feel even better. Like I don't have to stand up and speak around.
I don't know why he's blaming it on me. This guy loves to talk. I don't know why he's blaming it on me.
With that being said, like I said, we're gonna get it closed out. We're super excited. If you're out and available and you're on the Katy on the west side, we're at 1111 Katy Land Drive, Unit C. Come check out the Chop Shop. Buy yourself a shirt. I'll find something off on you that you can purchase and continue to help me experience my own personal life dreams. Past that, guys, thank you so much. Looking forward to next week. I really
tell you
looking
what, why
forward
don't
to
you
this
pray
again.
us out? You give us a
I tell you what, let's bless this food.
Yeah.
It's raining, so
it's raining. Right?
yeah.
Gotta love that. All right, look, Precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the people. We thank you for those who watch. We thank you that you brought Ray safe back to us. We thank you that you bring Jesus through the troubles that he's had. I thank you for all that you brought me through. We thank you for the opportunity to be here, to share this with other people, to interact, help to create and build new community. God, we ask it it just reaches and touches those who need to hear it. And we thank you for this food. Bless those who prepared it. Let it be nourishment for our body and keep us safe until we come back again next week. In Jesus' mighty name we pray and ask all. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much.
You,
we
guys.
love you. We'll see you again next week.
See you next week.
All right. You ready to eat?
Oh, yeah.
Breaking
I'm gonna sit
bread.
the whole time.